Can
Doing,
you hear me?
Nick?
I'm doing pretty great.
All
Thank
right.
you so much. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, no worries. Here, give me a second. Say something, Nick.
Hello, hello.
Okay, we're getting through, guys. Are y'all hearing Nick? Sometimes with some of these programs, it can be kind of difficult. You know what I mean? Sometimes they don't work super well. So let's see. All right. How you doing today, Nick?
Fantastic. Fantastic. Happy to be here.
Oh, that's good. Let me check one thing really
This is
quick.
my first Twitch.
Is your first Twitch? Let's
It
see.
is. I'm
Say something.
excited.
Let's say something for me, Nick. Say
Hello, hello,
All right,
hello.
good, good, good. You are coming
Testing.
through loud and clear. So full
Awesome.
send. Yeah, that's good. No, I always check with this program OBS. It's kind of finicky. So sometimes getting your especially like your audio sometimes to get through with different apps it can be day by day kind of thing. So yeah.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
so
Technology's always fun.
oh yeah, no, I know what you mean. So Nick, tell everyone a bit about yourself, like how you got started doing your business being a CPA, and any disclaimers that you have.
Sure. I will try to give you the shorter, non-boring version of it here. But
Okay.
I graduated in 2000 and was in the accounting field. And I worked for a company that was an entrepreneurial firm.
Oh,
And
cool.
so we were a fast growing, as fast as we could grow sort of thing. It was fun. We were taking on the world. We kind of created our own industry in
Nice.
aviation, and I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
Um, I left there for a little while and went to a big publicly traded company, and so I got to see that side of the world too.
Yep.
And it was, much slower and but they were doing a lot of things that were interesting things that we didn't do necessarily in the small business world. With a big example that I like to use is budgeting.
Yeah.
As entrepreneurs, we don't like to do budgeting and all that sort of stuff because
Yeah.
it's like,
It's a
oh
little
man, that
depressing,
stuff.
isn't it? Sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And so when I ended up leaving those guys, I had the idea of we really need to have a good firm, business services company that kind of combines those two things,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
That we need the flexibility and we need the interesting piece because that was what I enjoyed on the entrepreneurial side.
Mm-hmm.
But we also needed some of the tapping of the brakes and the understanding on that they have on the big business side. And
Absolutely.
so that was kind of how Standard and Company came about.
All right.
That was what we did, and it's people have really responded to it, and so we started in March of 2013,
Oh
and we're
wow.
still going strong.
I didn't realize you'd been
So
around that long. That's cool. So
yeah, yeah, I'm old.
are you gonna do it with those standard notes? Are you gonna be doing anything with those?
No, no,
Okay.
sorry,
I'm gonna
I can
remove
you
it
can
from
go
the
ahead and
call. It's
cancel
gonna
that. I'm
make
not sure why it's even in here.
yeah, no worries. It's just gonna make I'm just gonna say
You-
remove. It'll just make it cleaner oh what do I wanna say? The screen where you are, right? I've got us like oh what do I wanna say? In two separate screens on my OBS. You'll be able to see it later. So all right, cool. Well, thanks, Nick. That's nice to hear. Do you have any disclaimers about anything
Oh
today?
yeah, let me give the full
Mhm.
legal disclaimer here that all of the information that I give is going to be general information. You should seek the help of an accountant or an attorney to be able to help you through these things. I'll answer your questions the best that I can, but none of it should be taken as specific advice for you.
Yes.
Everybody's situation is a little bit different,
Yes.
and you need to have somebody who's aware of what your situation is fully.
Absolutely. And I could tell you guys, Nick and his people have really helped me. I called Candace today, yesterday. I didn't call her. I emailed her, and I'm looking at doing some like Zwift stuff. Do you know what Zwift is, Nick?
What was that? Whiffed?
Zwift. It's like this
Whiffed.
video game where you hook your bike's power meter up to it, or like a smart trader. Ooh, okay. Hey, Halima, how you doing? Hey guys, I'm gonna be probably responding a little bit less to alerts today because I'm talking to Nick, just letting everyone know. But if you have a question, I have a 50-point redeem. If you got a question for Nick about business stuff, put it in there. and with that redeem, and I'll get to it. So full send Halima. But what was that? Oh yeah, yeah. So it's like I hook up my trainer, my bike trainer to my computer, right? And it's like a video game, right? And if you have like a power meter, it'll simulate like going up hills and stuff, and you put your weight into it. Well, I'm gonna stream that probably maybe next week. You know what I mean? Start doing that. And I just called Candace. Candace, by the way, guys, Candace is his bookkeeper, and I was just like, hey, what do we need to do to get this? Can I expense everything? Is everything good with what I'm doing? I'm not gonna have any problems. And she's just like, she had a couple questions about how much the equipment was gonna cost, and I told her, and she's like, yep, you can expense that. So anytime I have like a new income stream or something I want to do, I run it by them, see what we have to do in terms of like, obviously you have to pay federal income tax, but in Texas, I also have to pay sales tax on certain things. So kind of with that in mind, and it's not everything and it's not nothing. And Nick's people help me figure that out, so I don't have any nasty surprises from the government come after me. So anyway,
Awesome.
so let's talk about this, Nick. Let's just say you have someone. This a lot of people in my community. They decide they're gonna stream. They get affiliate on Twitch, which is like basically you can monetize, right? You get a certain amount of the ad revenue and the subscription money, if that makes sense. And you can be they call it giving bits, but it's basically like a tip. So if I wanted to start doing that, what how would I go about that, do you think? Not from like a technical side, but from like a business side. What would be your recommendation?
I think the best place to start is that conversation with your CPA or with
Okay.
someone. Um, but often what happens in these types of situations is people don't realize, hey, this is a business.
Yeah.
This is a way to make money. And, you have to go into it with that mindset from the beginning. And when you do that, one of the best places to start any sort of company is, or I shouldn't say necessarily company, is to start with some sort of entity. If you're going to start a business,
Yep.
you probably need an entity. And what I mean by that is not every entity is a corporation,
Yep.
right? And so, like in Texas, we have corporations, but we also have LLCs, limited liability corporations. You can register partnerships, and there's different types of
Yep.
entities, and they're taxed in different ways, right?
Yep.
Um, the most common right now, or I guess I should back up. Well, the most common right now is the LLC, the limited
Okay.
liability corporation, right? But the oldest entity is the partnership.
Yep.
Two people just getting together and saying, "Hey, we're going to do business together."
Yep.
Um, that starts off.
Hi, Nick.
Hey, realize I think I can be on screen there. Yeah, that's easier. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can see you over here on my other screen. So
Okay. Yeah, no, your
awesome.
background looks perfectly fine. Like it's perfectly presentable. I wouldn't worry about that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So the partnership is the oldest type of entity, and it doesn't necessarily have to be registered, but in most states there is a way for you to register
Yep.
that. Um, Next came the corporation, and that's kind of what you think about when you think of
Mhm.
big companies, right? It's not just big companies, but you have,
Okay.
that's the way that most like ExxonMobil, I like to use them as an example. That's a big corporation, right?
Yeah, right here in Houston, right?
Right.
ExxonMobil is a
Yeah,
big deal. So, yeah.
absolutely. The newest entity is kind of a mixture of those two.
Okay.
The LLC is kind of a mixture of a partnership and a corporation. And the reason that people use it so often now is that it has a lot of flexibility to it.
Okay.
So the rules are very strict on corporations. And
Yeah.
so, if you have 100 shares of stock, then every share must have its pro rata share of a vote,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
so, if somebody owns 50% of the shares, then they own 50% of the vote, and it is what it is.
Yep.
Partnerships can be creative, and LLCs kind of pick that piece up from partnerships that they can kind of do whatever they want as long as it's agreed to in the document. It's called a members agreement,
Mhm.
and that members agreement kind of dictates how everybody's going to operate. And so you can say, hey, I want my spouse or partner or whatever to be 50% ownership, but I don't want them to have more than 1% of vote. And as long as everybody writes that and everything's good, then you can do that.
Okay, cool.
And so you can be so much more creative in the way that you divide up ownership, voting rights, and even earning rights. To tell
Yeah.
you the truth, that's a big one. You know that, hey, if we're going to be 50-50 owners as far as voting is concerned,
Mhm.
um, but all of the income is going to come to me, or I'm the person that put in the seed money, or
Yeah,
I'm the
yeah,
person
yeah.
who had to purchase all of the equipment, and I purchased all of the cameras and all that sort of stuff. Like in
Yep.
your case, that might be the situation that you want to go with, right?
Mhm.
But at the same time, you want that person to be, that spouse or partner or whatever, to be involved. And
Yep.
so, hey, we're going to go ahead and make them a director, even though, or an officer, even though they don't really have any ownership in the company.
Okay.
And you can do those sorts of creative things with an LLC that you can't do with a C corp. And so most people are using the C corp. Interestingly, the IRS kind of got tired of making forms up. And so there isn't a form specifically for the LLC.
Okay.
An LLC then has to make what's called a tax election, and there are different ways that it can choose. It can be chose. You can the if it's a single member LLC, meaning that there's only one person in it. It can't be a partnership. It's just a
Yep.
default to be on a Schedule C on your personal tax return,
Okay.
which has tax consequences to it.
Yep, yep, yep.
Um, if you have a second person in it, more than one person, I should say, the default is for it to be treated as a partnership, and so it files a
Okay.
form 1065.
Cool.
You can also make an election, though, to be treated as an S corp, which is kind of it stands for small corp, small
Okay.
corporation. There are rules around being a small corp, of course, but what happens there is a little bit different, and I'll kind of swing back to that.
Okay.
And then, or it can choose to be treated as a corporation. So you can be an LLC, and then for tax purposes, be treated as a corporation.
Okay.
Corporations pay their own taxes. And
Yep.
so right now it's fixed at 21%. That's in the last tax bill that was passed. Um, so it's fixed at this 21%. But it's a little more difficult to get income out of corporations,
Yeah, that
right?
yeah.
Because, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because it could be seen as was it laundering or whatever, right?
Well, the only way to get it out of there, you have to either pay yourself a wage on a W
Yep.
2, or you have to cut a dividend, because the corporation stands by itself,
Yep, yep, yep.
right? It's important in any business that we keep the money for the company, for the business, separate from the
Yep.
money for the individuals, right? Just because you own 100% doesn't mean that you get to just go into the bank account anytime you feel like it at the corporation.
Absolutely.
The only way to get money out of that corporation, though, is going to be through dividends or through payroll.
Okay. Yeah, that makes
Both of
sense.
those have additional tax consequences,
You
right?
pay yourself a salary or you get a dividend. So I think most of the people here, so like for me, for example, me, I'm set up as a sole proprietorship through the state of Texas, right? Most people I think are going to be either, like I said, one person doing it, or at the most maybe two or three people doing it. So let's go for a situation with you have an LLC solo full send. Yeah, so like one person, let's just say I want to start streaming. How do I go about starting that?
So, so Solo here has an LLC. What they probably want to do is make a subchapter S election,
Okay.
especially in the early times of the LLC. The IRS recognizes that most businesses are probably not making a ton of money in the first couple of years, right? That they have to grow into it.
Yep.
And you're basically living off of, when the company makes money, I have money.
Yeah.
And what the S corp election allows is for you to take what's called distributions.
Okay.
And distributions, well, that's basically just going into the company and writing a check and saying, here's some extra money that the company has right
Mhm.
now. And that comes to you, well, you'll hear it described as tax free, but what really is happening is that the company has to pay, or when you're an S corp, you have to pay the taxes on all of the company money that the company makes, all of the
Mhm.
net income that it makes.
Okay.
And so that money, the money that's already in the business, you've already paid taxes on. And so, again, if you take the tax, or excuse me, if you take a distribution of cash out of that company, you've already paid taxes on it. So you don't have to pay taxes on it again.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so it's
So
a simplified way of kind of doing things. And, for the first couple of years, you can generally be okay with not running any sort of payroll.
okay.
Eventually, though, you do want to get to the point where you're running payroll because the fun thing about distributions is that they're not subject to self employment tax.
Oh, really? Yeah. So that's a difference between like a sole proprietorship and like having an LLC, right? Like, so I'm a sole proprietorship. So whatever money I make, I on this, I haven't made a lot of money, but whenever I do make money, I have to pay self-employment tax, right? That's how I'm set up right now, right? If
Right.
you're an
Right.
LLC, you don't have to do that. If you
If you're an LLC with a subchapter S election, you
okay,
don't have to do that.
interesting. So
If you're an LLC that's a disregarded entity, meaning that you're treating yourself, so as an LLC, you can treat yourself as a sole proprietorship,
okay,
and which they call disregarded entity, and that would be subject to self-employment tax. And for those that don't know, self-employment tax is Social Security and Medicare.
okay,
It's just a little over 15%
yeah.
of the income that you're making.
All right, so I got a question here. So Solo's asking,
Sure.
so Twitch says they don't count us as employees. Wrestling was similar. So would we be considered independent contractors? I think the answer is yes, but I'll let you answer that.
It is. Yes, that is the answer is yes to that. You're not an employee there. Independent contractor, in a way, I guess I would call you an independent contractor because you're going to get a 1099.
Yep, from
They
them.
should give you a 1099 that says this is how much money we've paid out to you, Solo.
Yep,
Um, that um, you're really acting as your own corporation more than you're even acting as an independent contractor.
yep.
But in general, the taxes are going to be handled the same way.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So basically you have to pay all those the income taxes basically. I mean
That's
that's
right.
what it means, right? That Twitch is not taking that out.
That's it. You got
Yep.
it.
Yep. 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 So, okay. Cool. Let's see. I got a whole list of questions for you, Nick.
Sure.
I'm going through the list. So, let's talk about like expenses. So here's a question. So the things I buy for, let's just say my streaming or my YouTube, right? Are these expensible and what does that mean?
So when we're talking about expenses, what we're saying is this is something that you get to deduct from your revenue before we calculate net income.
Yep.
Your taxes are calculated on net income. And so
Yep.
we take the total amount that you've brought in, and then we subtract out if you have advertising expenses, if you have rent, if you're if you're paying for a short-term rental of equipment, if you're renting a space so that you have a nice quiet space, or sound boxes and all that sort of stuff, fun stuff, all of those things get deducted from that revenue
Yep.
before we get down to net income.
I think
Well,
I'm gonna put it in a way, and maybe the dumb people like myself can understand. So I think I understand this. So just say you make $100. I'm using 100 as a round number. Let's say you have to pay 25% taxes. That's not what you have to pay. It depends on what you have to do, but let's just say it's 25%, right? I have a $20 expense, right? So if I didn't put an expense in, I would have to pay the government $25. But if I do have my expenses, now the government sees my income as $80. Let's say a $20 expense, not $100, and I apply that 25% to that amount. Is that right?
that's it. You
Yep.
got it.
And like most things are like it's 100% of the cost of the expense, with the exception of like entertainment. Is that right? Like
That's
meals and
right.
taking people out. So like yeah, I guess that's a question, right? Like what's so everything's 100% except
Well, so entertainment is not deductible at all anymore.
not at all.
Um,
Okay, that's good.
uh, but meals are generally going to be deductible at 100%. And remember, they have to have a business purpose, right?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to have a reason that you're doing it. It's not just, you know, hey, this is for my, I went to HEB and this is for my
Yeah,
groceries.
yeah, of course.
And so that gets a little bit different. But if you're taking somebody out to eat,
Okay.
if I were to take you out to eat the next time you were up here at our office, that would be 50% deductible.
So they like the whole bill's 50% or what I ate is 100%. Does that make sense?
The whole bill is at
Is at
50%.
50%. Okay. So
Yeah,
basically if you paid $50 to take me out to eat, $25 of it is deductible.
that's it.
Okay, cool. Solo was asking per diem for per diem daily for food. Um, are you talking solo about if you go on a trip, what you eat when you go on a trip, or did you get a per diem? I know you did wrestling, so you're kind of in a different situation than a lot of us here. Are you talking about a per diem from like the wrestling organization for food? Is that where you're at? So like during work days. So are you talking specifically for like when you were working for the wrestling company or like just in general? 50 days is allotted. Is that allotted for streaming too? So like I'm a per diem. I don't know if I'm understanding it. Does that make sense what she's saying, Nick?
So per diems are usually given to you. So you're
Okay.
given $50 a day,
Okay.
and you're allowed to deduct the amount that is the per diem for the location that you're in.
Okay.
And so the IRS has a published list of per diems by location. So
Okay.
if you were to go look and see, you know, Galveston, Texas, there's a list of what the food allowance is and how it works. And so if somebody is giving you $50 a day for per diem, you're allowed to take that standard sort of per diem deduction for that amount. Be careful on stuff like
Yeah.
that, though. You may get $50 a day, and the location that you're in, the IRS only allows 47, and so
Yeah.
technically you made $3 a day on
So
that.
basically it's like kind of counted as income, but then you get the if it's at or under the amount that the IRS lets you, you basically get to write it off. Essentially, is that the way to look at it?
Yes. And solo, yes, it's not really by state, it's by location.
Okay.
So it's actually city specific. So meaning that you, Dallas is higher than Amarillo.
Okay. I didn't know this. So basically it's basically like a company pays you someone an outside entity pays you a certain amount a day to be there, right? And you get to write as much of that off as you're allowed to. I guess is the best way to say that, right?
Yeah, so what happens there, the reason that per diems kind of came about was that people were traveling a lot for work, and
Yep.
rather than have a reimbursement program at the company, meaning that you turn in your receipts and then
Yep.
get reimbursed, I'm just going to give you $50 a day and I don't really care what you spend it on. That's
Yep.
up to you.
Yep.
And, interestingly there too, like in our last one we were saying, no, I get $50 a day, but the deduction is 47.
Yeah.
If you only spent $20 on lunch, it doesn't really matter. You still get that $47 of deduction.
Okay. Yeah, 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 yeah. That makes sense. She said, "Yeah, are you on Twitch right now, Nick, too?"
I'm
Yeah, yeah,
watching.
you okay, you can see it too. Okay, good deal. Yeah, I wanted to bring that up because a lot of us order in when it gets hectic. So, like, are you saying like your order like with your streaming, you order in food solo? This might be I'm a sole proprietorship. I don't do that, but that might be something different with an LLC. So your CPA said that was okay. So we don't want to. Maybe we shouldn't answer that question. So when I stream, if I need to order, but I write down if it's under your per diem. Okay. So that's how your CPA is telling you to do it. So basically, you're able to give yourself $50 a day to eat on a streaming day. Is that what from your business? Is that what your CPA said, Solo? If they have access, does that make sense, Nick?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's your corporation, so
Okay.
you can give yourself
You can
any
give
sort
yourself
of
per diem.
in general, I'm gonna say in general, you can give yourself any benefits that any other corporation gives, right?
Okay,
I
cool.
mean, just like you can give yourself health insurance benefits,
Yep.
you can sign up or you can set up a 401k inside of your company.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You can do all those sorts of things. You're entitled to do any of those sorts of things.
And that's one of the benefits to having like an LLC versus just like a sole proprietorship or a partnership. Is that right?
Yes, having that LLC structure makes it a little bit easier
Easier to
to
do
do.
that. Yeah.
If you're going in just as a sole proprietorship, then it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Um, it can be a little bit different on those situations.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I guess Solo's asking about the insurance too, because I'm sure I'm going to guess you're self employed and you have to pay um, the government. You get one of the government plans, right? So can you put that through the business as well?
If you're going through a government plan, no,
No.
you
Okay.
cannot. It has to be a company sponsored plan,
Okay.
and you have to qualify for a company sponsored
You have
plan.
to
So,
qualify.
meaning that you go to Blue Cross Blue Shield or something like that. I'm not endorsing Blue Cross Blue Shield. I'm
Okay.
just saying something like that.
Yeah.
And you have to get a corporate plan
Yeah.
in place so that the company is actually paying for the insurance. And a lot of those will require that you have at least two employees, and they
Okay.
want them to be W-2s.
That's
So
that's
there
a
are some nuances there, but
yeah.
yes.
You could basically, like, theoretically, like, you have to basically prove that it sounds like you have some just to be on the safe side, you have a certain amount of employees, and it has to be a corporate plan that you buy through Blue Cross Blue Shield. Just an example, or United, not one you buy on the, oh, what do I wanna say? The government web
Marketplace.
Yep.
It's not on the marketplace. You have
Okay.
to do an actual,
That's good to
corporate
know.
policy. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, yeah, so you have to go through that, and I bet there's some rules around that too, so, I don't think
absolutely, and every single provider has rules
Yep, yep,
there,
yep, yep, yep.
so it's a little different. It can be a little different than what, than just it's but definitely not just going out to the marketplace. Now you may qualify for, a self-employed health deduction. Are we still on, or did that
No, we're still
oh, it's
here.
running a commercial.
Yeah, it's for yeah, for you because 'cause you're not subscribed to me.
Oh,
Nick, if you have your, you have this attached to, like, an Amazon account, so if Amazon basically owns Twitch, you could use your Amazon sub for my account, and it'd be free for you. I mean, it's essentially free for you. If it's Amazon Prime, you're essentially already paying for it, so
okay.
no,
I don't wanna
I'm teasing you. But yeah, no, so basically the way I'll give you a little update on how this works. So for people who aren't like subscribed to this channel, they pay like maybe like $6 a month. I get about half of that. You know what I mean? And basically what that does for them is it turns off ads, that's the biggest benefit. But then I have like emotes here. I'll show you some of mine that they can
okay,
use like kind of this kind of thing. They can use in the channel and other channels. People like them. So if you'll go into chat,
gotcha.
so basically they get access to my like emotes, which is like little like pictorial animation things that they can chat with. So that's like those are the two big ones. So yep, their DJ
Okay,
just did another one. So I've got Michael Jackson eating popcorn there as one of
nice.
my emotes. So but yeah, no, so those are the 2, like, big benefits with that. So you're getting ads. I was trying to snooze them as long as possible, but Twitch requires me to run a certain amount of ads an hour, and, they will get their money, and I get, like, very, very small portion of that ad
Right,
revenue.
right.
It's
Okay, well,
it's
that's
in the
cool.
it's
Sorry,
in the
I didn't know if it paused us or anything there, so
I
thank
think
you.
it might be I don't know, like, it's probably different. Every deal's probably different, but I think it comes out to maybe, like, a cent a person per ad or 10 cents a person an ad. So I've got if like I said, if you're going to pay the advertiser is going to pay Twitch and they're going to pay me like a cent of what the ads you're going through right now. So that's another
Oh,
thing,
cool.
guys. If you like your streamers, like stay through their ads, don't click away because if you stay on, we get a little tiny bit of money. Maybe go on another device and watch something else. You don't have to do that, but it is a nice way to show you appreciate us. So, but
Love it.
so they're so they are used in analytics to across usages in other channels. It's is another way to engage. Yeah. So, oh, you're talking about the emotes. Yeah. So like my little like animation things, right? So like I have there's like follower emotes and like subscriber emotes. And like the subscribers get all the emotes and then the followers only get the follower emotes, but they can only use those in my channel. The subscribers can use all my emotes as long as you're subscribed to me anywhere. So anywhere on Twitch. So that's how that works. You don't think that that would be like a huge incentive, but it kind of is. I've been really surprised about that, how much people like those. So,
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah. So,
I like it.
are we back from ads? Here,
We
you
are.
can be
We're
my
back from
gauge.
ads.
You're gonna be my gauge for that, Nick. We're back from
Yeah,
ads. All right.
we're back from ads. We're good.
Yeah. Okay, DJ's got a question. Is there a minimum I need to make as a content creator in order to write off expenses? I've heard creators in other countries have minimums. So
So
I run all mine through my media business. So like I've never had that. So is it the $600 thing, Nick? Is that what I'm thinking?
no, the $600 thing is a little different.
Okay.
The There isn't a minimum. The United States does not have a minimum.
Okay.
The the thing that you have to watch there is whether or not you're a legitimate company. And so the IRS could step in and say that you're not actually trying to make money and you're doing this as a hobby.
Yeah.
And hobby expenses are not deductible.
Yeah.
And so, or losses are not deductible, excuse me. Um, and so, if you're putting out an effort and you can show that you're putting out an effort in
Yeah.
order to build subscribers and that this is your primary way of making money or it's an important thing to you, then you don't really have anything to worry about.
Okay.
But I always tell people to kind of use a litmus test there as well, that hey, if I brought in $1,000 this year on Twitch and I spent $50,000 on computers and equipment, well,
Yeah.
that's a little sketchy, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's usually what happens. Like you have to kind of get people to tap the brakes a little bit on like, hey, it's
Maybe
one
you're
thing to say
overdoing
that,
it.
yeah, like you're kind of abusing the situation, but that's a good reason to have a professional involved too,
Yep.
is to make sure that you have somebody who's kind of keeping you between the ditches, as
Yep.
they say.
Yep.
And
No,
hey, we just need to kind of pay attention here that
yeah.
you can't have $1,000 of income for the last of revenue for the last 3 years and $50,000 of expenses.
Yeah.
However, I will back up a little bit there that we do have clients though that are in that situation because they're in something that you know livestock, for example, and they have to
Yeah.
go out and they spend 50,000 or $100,000 on things to get their business up and running, and that's perfectly acceptable
Yeah.
because they're in a business where that is typical.
Yeah.
um, for streaming, it's tough to say that you
Yeah.
needed a $50,000 setup in order to get started.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but I would say like a typical setup, like, I mean, I bought a lot of stuff for my business, but like I said, I run my streaming in my YouTube through my media business. I have a business called Rosendale Media, and I do photography, videography, and we're running it all through for me through that. I make a little bit of money on that. Well, but you guys haven't told me to stop, so
Yeah,
I'm sure
well,
you
and we
will.
we watch it for you. That's
Yeah.
part
No,
of why
no.
you have us.
That's why I have you. Yeah, no, I am definitely trying to like make money through that. It's hard though, man. Like starting out as a business. I mean, a lot of businesses, what do they say? They don't make money for the first how many years?
A lot of businesses don't make money for the first 3 years.
Yeah.
It's
So,
not until about year three that they really start to get a following, especially in what you guys are doing. There's so much of it that's
yeah.
um, you know, uh, advertising and in some ways luck, right?
Yeah.
If you have the
No.
right person or the right thing and it becomes The media picks it up, and
Yep.
you have that hot item, then people will subscribe, and then suddenly you go from having a couple hundred subscribers to tens of thousands
Yep.
of subscribers. And I mean,
Yep.
it's just it's
It
a
goes from
finicky
there.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
The biggest thing in any business is making it rain, right? How do
Yep.
you go out there and actually get the revenue to come in?
Yeah. Yeah. We're working on that. So, but
Absolutely.
the good thing about
Always.
the good always, man. The good thing about Twitch is like it has a so there's like a couple good things. Like the good thing about Twitch is it has a pretty low like bar for monetization. So I'll give you an example. I've been like kind of grinding it out on YouTube for probably about 2 or 3 years now, like really trying to make that grow. I've got 850 subscribers or so on my channel. I've not made a cent from YouTube, right? I did this for 3 months. I had to have a certain amount of followers. It wasn't a big amount. It was like 50, and that's not. And like I said, 50, and then a certain amount of like people per stream, which I think it was like 3, which is like not too hard to do, especially like if you're in a community with streamers. And I was able to monetize in 3 months. So in that sense, that's is it good for that. It's not the best. It's not the best. Platform, I think, for like like growth. There's not really like their algorithm isn't as like tuned in as like the YouTube one or the TikTok one. So it doesn't get just like they won't decide one day to just blast your stuff out like to the whole world. Where on like especially TikTok that can happen.
Right.
It gets in the right hands. It goes by sometimes for like not a good reason. You might get a lot of if it's like a negative thing, like you'll get a lot of
Yeah.
attention. You know what I mean? But that's kind of how that works a little bit. So. Okay, cool. Well, let's move on. Let's see. So we talked about setting it up. So this is what someone told me when I set up my business. I went kind of wrapping this up. He told me is my jujitsu coach. He runs a couple businesses. He told me I needed to get a DBA in Texas and then have separate checking account and separate credit card. Does that sound like sound advice? Then you're from your personal, or does it depend?
So I like where he was going with that for sure.
Mm,
You definitely want things to be separate from you,
Yep. Yep. From your
meaning,
personal.
and there's for a lot of different reasons on that. One of the biggest is that if for some reason your business is audited,
Yeah.
you want to be able to hand them just the business books and not your personal
Yeah,
books.
absolutely.
You don't want to have them open up anything that you give them is available for audit.
Yeah,
And so we don't necessarily want to give them more than they're asking for. And so
absolutely.
the second reason is that it does save you quite a bit of money on bookkeeping and
Yep.
taxes and that sort of thing at the end of the year, because it's a lot easier for us to be able to go through
Yeah.
a checking account and look at it and say this is just business activity,
Yep.
um, instead of us having to go through and say, well, this was HEB, but this was for the office, and this was HEB, but this was
Yep.
for you
Yeah,
personally,
exactly. Yeah.
and it just, you're racking up hours with us, which means it's costing more money.
And that's what I do. I everything I do through and I ask them to, guys, is this something I can expense? You know what I mean? A lot of times when I'm not sure, but I do like all everything I buy for the business to do this, either my videography, photography, streaming, YouTube, costumes, that sort of thing. I'll put it through if it's gonna be like on camera, like this stuff is right back here. Like I'll put it on my business card, and then it all goes through that account. It does make it like a lot easier at the end of the year. We basically I have a QuickBooks. That's a probably. Would you suggest people if they have a decent side? When would you suggest people get a QuickBooks
I
subscription? So
I am a believer that you should have QuickBooks the moment I call it proof of concept.
yep,
The moment that you realize that, hey, this is going to work,
okay,
this is something that could work, because, and I say that because a lot of times the expenses come in before
yep,
the revenue does. Most of the time the expenses come through before the revenue does, and you don't want to lose sight of those expenses,
yep.
and they're really hard to recreate. It's really hard to go
Mm-hmm.
back in
Yep,
time.
yep. No, I
um,
that my coach, he told me that too. He's like, you need to go get yourself QuickBooks. So I think that's helped you guys too. When I came on, because I was doing it a little bit on my own before. And then when I came on with you, it was easy for you guys to go in there and look at it, right?
Oh, absolutely. It
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
everything a lot easier for us. We
yep,
can we're just going in and cleaning up
yep,
versus having to start from scratch and look at personal checking accounts and all that other
yep,
sort of stuff. The only thing that I would say that is questionable in the advice that you got was whether or not you need a DBA.
yeah.
A DBA is not quite as powerful as people think it is.
Okay,
DBA is it's really an assumed name.
okay.
And so you're going in there and, like, um, I would go in to see the judge, or I go into the
There's a
county
courthouse,
courthouse,
yeah,
and I say, my name is Nicholas, but I'd also like you to call me Stander and Company.
yep,
And so they give you a piece of paper that says, okay, your name is Nicholas and it's also Stander and Company.
okay,
So I'm still operating as an individual there.
yeah.
I'm still using everything is still happening under my social security number
That's how I
versus,
am right now, sole
yeah,
proprietor, right? Yeah. So,
yes, versus actually starting an entity. An entity gives you legal protection
okay.
as well, right? Because it's its own. I'm saying entity. When you think of entity, you should be thinking of it kind of as it's its own person,
Yeah.
And so I am taking the liability off of myself,
Yep.
and instead of you working with Nicholas Stander, you're working with Stander and Company. And so if something were to happen, I mean, it doesn't happen really in my line of work, but if you were to be sued or
Yeah.
any of those sorts of things, bankruptcies, any of that, the company is the one that's sued. You can't sue me individually because you didn't hire me.
Yep.
You hired my company.
Yeah.
And so there are ways to get around that. There's this thing called gross negligence, but
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
general,
That's
they have to sue the company. And so
it.
it gives you that legal protection.
Basically, they can't come take your house or something.
Right.
Yeah. Now I got to talk to you guys about that. I'm thinking about potentially doing that. Kevin and I are going to get married next year. So I was like, yeah, it might be good to separate the business out from my personal. So,
Probably so. It,
yeah.
it does make sense. And congratulations, by the
Thank
way.
you. Yeah, yeah, check it out. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so it is, yeah, it's probably the right thing for you to do.
Okay.
I mean, again, it's kind of hard to go with something, it's hard to come up with something of some reason why you would be sued, but
Yeah.
there's enough reason to form an LLC just for tax purposes for you.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Just kind of like right now, it's all me, right? It's like the sole proprietorship. It's like me, and then the other income I get from like my jobs and stuff. Whereas like when we're together, it's like us, and it's like that could be. Do you know what I mean? I don't want anything to come back on him, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, yes,
yeah,
people that work with animals, for example, we watch with stuff like that, you're working with an animal and that animal bites somebody.
yep,
You don't
yep,
want them
yep,
to be able to sue you over that. You want them to have to sue the corporation over that. And
yep,
that little bit of protection goes a long, long way. And weird stuff happens and you can be sued for anything.
yep. This is America. You can get sued for anything. How okay, DJ's asking, how complicated is it to start off as an individual and roll business into an LLC? Because I mean, that's basically what I'm gonna do, right? I don't think it's too hard, right? If you have
It's
everything.
not. It's actually pretty easy.
Yep,
I mean, you just there are some decisions, I guess, that need to be made, but for the most part, you just pick a name that no one else is using, form your LLC. You'll go to the IRS website, and then you get an EIN. The most difficult thing there, I would say, is that you have to get a new checking account
yep, yep. Believe it.
because checking accounts are associated with your social security number or with an
Yep,
EIN.
yep, yep,
And so when you start that new entity, you'll get an EIN and you'll need to go to the bank and start a
yep,
brand
yep.
new checking account.
Give me a second. I need to extend our call. I'm gonna go into my own screen and do that so I don't dox myself. So give me a second, Nick. Let's see. Extend call. $0 a month. You know what we're gonna do, Nick? I'm gonna go off of this and come back into it, I think. And we'll see if that yeah, it looks like yeah, give me a second. We're gonna go get off this call and then I'm gonna like remake a meeting if that makes sense. So I'm using the free Google. So I probably yeah, basically, or it might be the same link. We'll see if we can do that. But yeah, give me a second. So, all right, cool. All right, guys, I'm gonna give everyone a little break here. So while we're here, we could play some words on stream. Let's play some words on stream. Give me a second. Let's see. Google Calendar, Google Meet. Sorry about this, Nick. So I didn't realize there was like a time limit on it. So yeah, let's see if my chat's good at words on stream. Let's see. New meeting. Create. Start an instant meeting. Yes, this is what I want to do. All right, I'm gonna send you the link, Mr. Nick. I'm gonna send it to your email. Is that okay? Yeah, I'm gonna basically send you a link. Yep. So I'm in that. Yeah, yep. Yep. Let's see. New email. How's everyone doing today? Good? All right. Also, guys, I don't know if you were here at the beginning, but if you want to, just to make it, it's not going too fast, but if it gets any bigger, I have a 50-point question redeem. Uh, Welcome back, Mr. Nick. I've got a 50-point West question redeem. That'll help me like kind of keep track of it. So, but we don't have too many people asking questions right now. But if we got more people, it might be hard to keep track. And this just like highlights it for me. So, if you don't mind, all right, Mr. Nick, I'm gonna get you. We are gonna have to. Let's see. Let's get back in here. All right, let's minimize me because we don't want to see my like non-face over there. We want to see your handsome face, Nick.
We're setting the bar low for
Uh,
handsome. I appreciate it.
it's just my like company logo. So, but anyway, also guys, if you are in the state of Texas, I'm gonna send. That's my Discord. Never mind. If you type in explanation points CPA. That's a link to Nick's company's website. If you're in Texas, is that right, Nick? They have to be in Texas to,
They
or
do not.
they do
No, we
not.
can
Never mind.
represent.
You could
No,
you
no.
could hire just in the U.S. in general, or is there any
Nope.
limitations?
We have clients all over the world.
Ah, well, there you go. You can hire Nick. Like I said, they've done a really good job for me. Because like I'll say this, guys. I used to like whenever I wanted to do something new, I would Google it for hours and try to get an answer on how it was going to affect specifically my state income tax. Like the federal was pretty cut and dry. I felt like to me, but the state like sales tax, like oh yeah, it was a. I would spend hours like just debating it. And now what I do, I hire them. They do my taxes and my bookkeeping. I email his bookkeeper and say, I want to do this. What do we need to do to get this set up? And usually she responds pretty promptly. Candace is pretty good. And yeah, then I don't have to worry about it, right? Doing it wrong, you know? So,
Yeah.
but yeah. Anyway, let's like pivot into that. Let's see if we get DJ's question. Umbrella. Hella easy. I'm kind of going back through the questions. So let's see. So they were talking about an LLC. Pretty simple. Let's see if we got anything else.
Yeah, it is pretty simple to
Yeah,
start your
yeah,
own
yeah, yeah, yeah.
LLC.
Especially if you have a
You know,
CPA, they do all the paperwork for you. Right. So,
Absolutely. I
yeah.
would highly recommend that you just hire an accountant to do it.
Yeah.
These companies that do it for cheap, Zen Business, I'm not familiar with them. But what they try to do is set you up for, they don't charge you really to form the LLC. What they'll do is they'll establish themselves as the registered agent. And so you're paying $250 a year. But in most states, you don't need to have a registered agent if you live there.
Yeah.
You can act as your own registered agent and you don't have to spend that money.
Yep.
And so, we get clients that come in and they've been paying that for decades,
Yeah.
and it just, I'm not saying they're ripping them off. That's not what I mean. It's just that there's no reason to have that.
Yeah.
Um,
They're basically, did they set it up? Is it just like them being an agent and they don't do anything else? Do they like fill out any paperwork form or anything? Like,
no, they actually can't fill out any paperwork
well,
for you or
then
anything.
that's
All the
they are
All
ripping
they
you
are
off
is
then.
it's an official mailbox. That's all. You have to have an official mailing address for in most states.
Okay.
And so, like in the state of Texas, you have to say my registered agent is whatever address
Yeah.
because that's where you can be served papers and
Yep.
that's where your official papers for things that come from the state of Texas go.
Yep. Yep.
And so that's all they're doing. They're just collecting your mail.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Well, like I pay, let's see, I got a PO box. It's a lot, like it's a lot cheaper. So if you don't want your mail to come to your house, but no, so like Nick, I'll probably have him and his group do. This year, maybe early next year, we'll start getting me into an LLC. I think it's a good idea. Like I said, and yeah, let's pivot into state sales tax. So as a content creator, so I'm gonna give you some situations.
All right.
All right,
So this
lot.
is tricky.
So this
I,
is
I will.
state is
I need to throw a disclaimer on this one for sure. This is tricky. Every state is different.
yes.
So just because something happens here in Texas, sales tax, there's different types of tax, right?
Hmm.
Sales tax is a local and state tax, and then you have federal income tax, and then some states have state income tax,
Yeah.
and then property taxes are local and state, and then in Texas we have franchise tax.
Okay.
So
Okay. So what's a franchise tax? I don't think.
it sounds like I know it sounds weird, like, well, I'm not. I hear it all the time, like, hey, I'm not a franchise. Um, but a franchise tax is you operating a business in the state of Texas. They've granted you franchise, and so you actually do file one. We just file it on your behalf.
Okay, you are taking care of that for me.
Yeah, in Texas, there are no taxes if you bring in less than 2.75 million in revenue
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. A year.
a year.
Yeah, so you're fine. So this is why you have a CPA, guys. So because we're not like I'm a content creator, right? Like I don't know a lot about this kind of stuff. I know a little bit from having to do this, but not a lot. So that's why you hire a professional. So let's see. So sales tax. So streaming. Like I'm streaming, I get subscribers, bits, they give me a tip. Sales tax. Obviously it's all income tax, right? According
Yes.
to the federal government. But what about
Yep.
like
And in some states, you would have income
you
tax
would
as
any
well.
tips too, and it's kind of treated similarly, right? It's just a different it's a percentage instead of going to the government, it's going to the state. Is that kind of the way to
That's it.
look at it? Yep. Do you?
That's it. I mean, there's always nuances between
Okay.
the two for sure. Like what's deductible at the state level isn't necessarily deductible at the corporate
Oh, okay,
level,
that's good to
or
know.
excuse me, at the federal level, and so there are differences. You do. I do recommend having somebody help you with that.
Yep.
Um, so because again, it's nuances.
Yep.
Things are generally the same, but and when you're taking tax classes, it's hilarious. They it's always described to you as you always do this. This is always deductible
Mm-mm.
until and
Except. Yep.
except. And so it's an always but except
Except.
when you're talking about tax law.
Yep, yep. I no, yeah, that's why you hire accountant guys.
That's right.
But like okay, so like streaming typically in Texas. I'm gonna say in Texas. I'm gonna make this Texas me streaming. I'm doing live, basically live entertainment, right?
Hmm.
So no sales tax there, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
The streaming services and subscriptions and things like that are subject to sales tax,
Okay.
but not a not just you doing streaming. No.
Okay. So the money, we might have to talk to Candace then. So we'll talk about that
You
after.
have, but you, so typically what's going to happen, like if you're getting money through something like Twitch, Twitch is collecting the sales tax on your behalf.
Okay.
And
Got it.
so they're responsible for paying
They're
it.
responsible for paying the sales tax, and then I get what's left of it, what's left over.
That's correct.
Okay.
So while, yes, that is subject to sales tax, you're not responsible for filing that tax return. Twitch is filing it on your behalf. And the same
Okay.
thing for YouTube and any of
Patreon.
the others,
Yeah.
Patreon, any of the big ones,
Yep.
because they moved to that model about 4 years ago, maybe
Okay.
5 years ago, somewhere in that time frame. Because what was happening is it's almost impossible for you to know where every
Yeah.
one of your subscribers is,
Yeah.
and you were technically responsible for filing a tax return in
Yep.
every one of those locations. um, that's brutal.
Yep.
There's no other word for it. It's just brutal. And so what they did was they moved the responsibility to the provider
Yep.
to make those tax payments.
Well, what was probably happening was people either weren't paying it, right? Or they were paying it to the best of their knowledge, and each of the state governments probably weren't getting their money.
That's exactly right.
Yep.
You nailed it. You nailed
Yeah.
it. The states weren't getting their money.
And
It's
then
amazing how much people can cooperate. Politics are always so interesting that nobody can get along until money is involved,
yeah.
and then suddenly everyone can cooperate.
Yep. So Twitch should be paying your sales tax, state sales tax on behalf of you.
Correct.
Okay. Same thing with Patreon. I know for sure for Patreon that is because I went through an exercise with that. So yeah, they Patreon does that too. So, and you said
Yeah.
YouTube, basically any of the big platforms should be doing that.
Any of the national platforms will be
Yeah.
doing that for you.
Yep.
Um, if you sold on Amazon, for example, they collect the sales
Okay.
tax,
Yeah.
and then they pay the sales tax on your behalf.
Yep. I think Etsy does that too.
They
And
do.
then let's see what else. I'm trying to think of anything else. Any big things. So you have like your social media platforms. You got your Patreon. You got your Twitch. I'm thinking of. I'm trying to think of a situation I've been in. I know I have to do it for my. If you do any videography and photography work for people, guys, just FYI, I would check out in your state whether you have to pay state sales tax. Because if you're doing it like as a third party person, like I have to pay sales tax in Texas. So if you're using that to do any of this stuff, just check,
and
right?
and sometimes it's really crazy stuff too, that it's a you know I'm trying to think of how best to describe this. Sorry. Sometimes, like, consulting with someone is, so if you're telling them how you
Okay.
would like to take their pictures and you're helping them decide where to take their pictures,
And
it's
you're getting
not
paid for
taxable.
it.
But if you actually produce the photos for them and send them the media, then it is subject to sales
So it's
tax.
like the
And so
transfer of like something that's other than
a
money.
lot of times, yes,
Yeah.
sometimes it is very much that way.
Yeah. Like for instance, I transfer photo files, right? I have to pay state sales tax. Another one that's a big one is probably merch. Like, so people will make like t-shirts and hats and mugs and stuff. And I would guess that like, it depends on the platform you're in too, right? But not necessarily because I know if you're, like, on your own website, I would imagine you have to collect that and remit it. But, like, if you're
Absolutely.
doing
So, like a band,
yeah,
if you're out at a band at a concert or
yeah,
something and you buy the band's T-shirt, they have to submit that sales
yeah,
tax.
yep, yep. So, but, like, let's just say, like, some platforms I know, like, certain platforms let you sell your merch through their platform. So that would be I don't sell any merch yet, but that would be an interesting thing for us to maybe look into, like, seeing, like, if I sold it through Twitch, right? Like, you can buy it
They
on
submit that
they
they
should
will
submit
submit that
okay,
tax
okay,
rate.
yeah, same
Yes.
thing with, like, Amazon, and that's I mean, that's where those, like, platforms, like, add value, I think, right? To
Oh,
me as a
absolutely.
consumer, as the as a seller, right? Because like Yeah, I mean, you
One of
get a
the
little.
things to kind of look at it is or one of the ways to kind of think about it is that if they are collecting the money,
Yeah,
they are generally responsible for collecting
for
and paying
collecting.
the
That's
sales
good. I
tax.
didn't know that. So
If you're collecting the money and then giving them the portion, which doesn't happen very often with
yeah.
the big guys,
Mhm.
then you're responsible for collecting
So
that sales
it's
tax.
whoever collects the money, whatever entity collects the money is the one responsible for the sales tax. That's good to know. So
It's a good general rule.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So basically, they would it's right except for when it's not. Let's see, DJ. All right, DJ says I have an LLC for selling wine, but would like to fold it into my content creation into the LLC, even though they're not super directly related. I can spin it. Is that common, or is there anything we can look out for? Oh, I kind of had this question for y'all a while back, and we decided to keep basically for me keep all everything that's like content creation, videography, photography. I keep on my business, and because I Uber, and we were thinking about putting that money in the business too. We decided not to. So, but
So, DJ, the thing that we go through there is we want similar risks. We don't want two business operations that have different risk profiles in the same LLC. And so, just kind of not knowing anything about your situation, if you're actually producing that wine and potentially someone could consume that and get sick, um, we wouldn't want that mixed in with your content creation. Especially, can think of it as an insurance policy that, hey, if something happened to my wine selling business, I would not want something that also happened to my content creation.
yeah.
What I mean by that is anything under the same LLC is in the same, we call them silos, but think of it kind of being under that same business. And so if one gets sued, they both get sued. And so it's a personal choice for sure. You absolutely can. Whether or not you should kind of work that out, talk to somebody, and see if that makes sense for you. Because it just, you know, um, like I said, we don't want anything that's risky that could potentially take everything from you.
So basically, like if you had something, I would imagine probably the wine business is probably a little more risky. So if someone like sued you, right, they can only come for the assets in your wine business, right, and
That's
that
correct.
stuff. Like they couldn't come for. Whereas if they're together, they could come for everything that's in that business, right? So any equipment or that kind of stuff. Yeah,
Right. And future streaming revenues.
yes, that yeah, that's probably a bigger one. Your Twitch revenue. So yeah, so none of us, I don't think anyone in here is super big yet, but you could be. That could be your
Yeah.
yep for entertainment. Yep, that's pretty easy question. Um so like question I don't do AdSense for YouTube, but I would like to someday. I'm trying to grow that. So is YouTube, are they remitting sales tax with that stuff too? Because you would get basically through YouTube you get ad money and like they have like something called like a super thanks, which is like a tip, and then subscriptions and stuff. Is that the same idea then?
Yep. Same
Okay,
idea on that. They will, since they're collecting the money, they'll go ahead and file your sales tax for you.
perfect.
And so the income that's coming to you is just going to be subject to income tax.
There you go. So cool. That's good to know. Basically, generally, if you're going through a big national platform, they're taking care of it. If it's something you're doing on your own, right through your own website, or like you're collecting the initial money, you have to take care of it. So, all right, cool, very
Huh.
cool. Let's see, what else do we have on the docket? We talked about sales tax. Let's talk about quarterly federal income tax. This one catches people, I think, especially when they're first starting.
Absolutely. So we're moving from a state collected sales tax to the IRS and state income tax. So this is that
State too.
tax that's applied to your bottom line net income.
Yep,
Uh, so the IRS and states don't like it when you get to the end of the year and you owe a lot of money.
they want your money.
For for most people, that doesn't happen. They get withholdings, federal income tax withholdings out of their paycheck every single week or however often they're paid. When you're self-employed, you're not necessarily getting a W-2 or a payroll check, and so they still are in this situation. Well, how are we supposed to collect it from you? Well, the way that they want to do that is through quarterly tax payments. Um, what you should be doing, like what we do for our clients, is that we're keeping your books every single month. And when I say your books, the big thing on that one is that I'm looking at your P&L and I'm saying what your net income is, and we can multiply it by what your tax rate was in the prior year and make an estimate of what your taxes are. And so those payments are made quarterly. If you're not making quarterly payments, then you could be subject to penalties and interest for not making those quarterly payments.
And I'll
The
say,
idea.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry.
No, you go ahead, Nick.
Just the idea is that when you get to April and you file your taxes, you shouldn't owe very much, maybe plus or minus $1,000 sort of thing, um, because you've been making payments all quarter.
I
Interestingly, though, you don't have to make them on a quarterly basis. You can make them on a monthly basis or a weekly basis if that's what's easier for you.
I always like I probably this is probably like maybe not like the best thing. I even if I don't think I'm gonna owe money, I still do like $100 every quarter at least. You know what I mean? That way, if I make a mistake, later down the line, I basically cover myself. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that's the
Yeah.
right thing to do, but that's kind of what I do. That way, if I'm like, it's like okay, because I am estimating it, right? So I'm estimating a little bit every time, and then let's just say the next month I miss by like $50. Not that I would, but you know what I mean. Theoretically, right? It's already covered before, so
Well, and it's a lot easier to pay your taxes over the course of the year than
yes,
it is to get to April and then have to. For some reason, it's a lot easier to write
yep,
a $100 check every quarter than it is to write a $400 check at
100%.
the end of the year.
100%. So I add so I just that's what I do. I pay a little bit. Like I said, I have kind of a unique situation in that I have my business. I have a part-time job, right? They pay me money. They take out taxes for that, and then I Uber. Uber's like the big one, Uber, and then sometimes I do some babysitting and stuff. So I try to keep track of that on my own, but I'm not perfect, so but I try to make sure that I've paid the government the tax they're due, and they owe me money at the end of the year, and I don't owe them money.
Yeah, that's a good way to avoid the penalties and tax or interest.
Yep. So let's see if there's anything else. So we got quarterly. How do you set? You have to. I remember I had to set this up once. You do have to go and set it up on the IRS side, right?
Yeah, you just go to irs.gov, and I encourage everyone to get access to their IRS account. It's pretty simple, maybe 10, 15 minutes. You guys are tech savvy, so
Yep.
I'm sure you're used to setting those things up. There's an identification
Yep.
requirement to make sure that it's you, and it will give you access to tax returns. So depending, but most of the time you'll be able to easily access about 10 years of tax returns.
Cool.
And so if you have any balances or anything that are something went wrong, then that'll show up for you. If there's any notifications coming from the IRS, they'll come to you electronically as well. So if for some reason you're not getting your mail, but it also allows you to make those payments very easily.
Okay. Yeah, that's how I set it up when I set up my business. My dad told me that my dad's a shareholder in like a private company, if that makes sense. So he has to pay quarterly
Mhm.
taxes because he's technically an owner, right? Because it's
Right.
privately owned, right? Not publicly traded. So he told me that he's like, yeah, you need to go do this, and I'm like, okay. So, but let's see. We talked about QuickBooks. Get QuickBooks. It's like $20 a month. It makes everyone's life, and then what you'll do is you'll hook up all your business accounts to it, and, if you have, like, a Square, I use Square for my videography and photography. I think I've got that hooked up to it too. So, it'll hook that up to it, and then it basically, like, kinda brings everything in and out for them, and then the accountants, all they have to do is, like, what's that called when they categorize it? There's a technical term for it.
It's just being classified.
Yeah.
We call it classification, but I think they call it categorization.
Okay. I did say the
Um,
right word then. So,
yeah, you nailed it.
yeah. So yeah, I think that's my questions. I think that that was what we were gonna talk about. Does anyone else have any questions for Nick? By the way, guys, so my that little Nightbot, it's a little bit misleading. I thought Nick was only licensed in Texas. Apparently, he's licensed definitely all over the United States. It sounds like all over the world. So you guys can hire him. You know, you guys could do like state sales tax in all the states, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool, cool, yeah. So, and then could you do VAT and stuff as well? Like,
A little less on the VAT. We do
okay,
VAT, but it's definitely not. Well, it depends on the location.
yep, yeah.
Different countries have VAT.
Yeah, like that's a big thing in the EU. So like is a VAT. I see that on some of the paperwork we have to fill out and I'm like, I don't that doesn't apply to me. I don't think. So
No, no,
yeah.
you're generally okay.
So
Value added tax is what it is.
so basically Nick can help you all out definitely in the US and Canada maybe, but like then but call him if you're overseas and he'll tell you yes or no if they can take care of you. So
Absolutely.
and, let's see if there's anything else in here. So we got Nick, we got your plug. Do you have anything else you wanna plug?
Um, No, I mean, but check out our website.
Yep,
We do a lot of different things, not just bookkeeping and taxes. We actually do business coaching,
yep. Yeah, yeah.
marketing, so we can help you with your brand development. And then we have an insurance agency here
Mm,
that specializes in helping entrepreneurs. And then we do payroll as well. And
yeah,
so we're kind of an entire back of the house, everything except legal. We
yeah.
we handle here.
Yeah, no, I hired them as they do my bookkeeping throughout the year, and it's like, let me tell you what, like, that makes me feel so much better. You guys do it, and I don't have to deal with it anymore. I hated doing bookkeeping so much.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
and it's a necessary thing. It
you have
is,
to. You have to. Like,
You
yeah,
have to for a lot of reasons, you have to for taxes and all that sort of stuff, but we'll have to get you interested in it somehow, you need to know if you're making money and how you're
yep,
making money, and your books are the basis for all of the decisions
yeah,
that you make in your company.
yeah. And yeah, oh, what do I want to say? Oh, what do I want to say? Like the QuickBooks, it does. They have really nice reports that tell you basically. I look at my profit and loss report probably a few times, probably once a week, and just kind of look at where everything is. You know what I mean? So that's just
Absolutely.
helpful.
A
So
good habit.
yeah, and then oh yeah, when does in the U.S. when does something technically become an asset? What's like that low limit? And well, that's I forgot to ask about that assets versus like expenses. So that's
So
kind of a big one.
assets are expenses that last you for a period of time.
Yep.
So meaning that the utility bill is an expense because you've already spent it,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
You're just paying the bill for it. Versus a car. Yeah, you may pay it off as cash in the first day that you purchase it, but it's going to last you for a long period of time. Generally, the IRS rule is going to be 2,500 bucks.
Yep.
If you're spending more than $2,500, then you're going to want to put that in as an asset, or what we call capitalize it
Yep.
and depreciate it over time.
Mhm.
Anything less than 2,500 bucks, you can just go ahead and expense out.
That's what I do with my laptop, my MacBook when I bought it, right? It was definitely over 2,500 bucks. So, cuz I got I spec'd it out cuz I knew I would be doing like video editing and stuff, which is hardware intensive, let's put it that way. So that's something I turned into asset. Like I think my camera too. I can't remember if we made that an asset or it might have been just under the limit that. But like I know guys we do like a lot of like gaming stuff and some of that stuff can get expensive. So if like you buy like a gaming PC, right, Nick? It's over
Absolutely.
2,500 bucks. You might want to like yeah, asset.
Yeah, you're probably going to want to capitalize that as
Yeah.
an asset and depreciate it.
Mm,
Now you may depreciate it in the first year, which is the same as expensing it out,
expense, yeah.
but you're going to want to record that correctly too, because that can build into your banking down the future.
Yep.
What I mean by that is that you need a good set of books if you're going to go to the bank. And that
getting
plays for entrepreneurs, that plays in for multiple things. It could be um, whether or not, you're getting a loan for a house, a
mhm,
mortgage or something like that.
yeah,
Or it could be that you just need an equipment loan that, hey, I'm doing so much now and I need 3 computers. All
yep.
right, well, I might want a $10,000 loan or something to go buy those 3 computers. Having a good set of books and having your assets and expenses set up correctly will help you get that done.
Yeah, that's good to know. I didn't know that. So if you ever need like a loan or something for your business, right? I guess it doesn't have to be for your business, but I mean, I would imagine like it's for your business, right?
Yeah, most of the time that's what it is,
Yeah. So,
but it does also play into, buying a house. If you're self-employed, you need a good set of books if you're going to buy a house.
oh yeah, that's a good point. Like if you have a good books, like basically when you go wanting, so basically, if anyone's ever bought a house here, we did that a few years ago, and Kevin went and got the loan, right? And they had to have like basically all his income, his W-2s from his client, his oh, what do I want to say? His work, right? Basically to prove that he makes enough income to pay them back, essentially. And they want if you're self-employed, you have to prove that, right? Essentially.
Absolutely.
So like that. So that's what that's yeah, that having a good set of books where you can say like, here, this is how much money I'm gonna make a year. You know what I mean? Like I can't pay you back, essentially. So
So I'm seeing these questions come in here or comments come in here. Having the right bank as an entrepreneur is a tremendously important thing.
okay, let's hear about that.
Um, you know, uh, I do not recommend going with any of the big guys.
Okay.
They're not really designed for that sort of banking.
Okay.
You typically want to find a state chartered bank.
Okay.
You don't want to start up that isn't big enough to write a loan. Here in Texas, one of my favorites, my favorite is Citizen State Bank.
Okay.
They can write loans probably up to about 10 to 12 million dollars. So for most of us, that's going to be more than enough.
Yeah.
Um, and you actually get to talk to a banker.
Yeah.
You can
Houston, we
actually
have a
sit down
problem.
with a banker and explain what's going on versus if you go to one
I'm
of the
not
big
laughing at
guys.
you. Solo just like did her point redeem. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh,
I wasn't laughing
um,
at you. I was laughing at the point redeem because my point
oh, that's
redeems
okay.
make me happy. So,
So when you go to one of the big guys, the person that you're talking to doesn't really have the ability to sign off on your loan. They don't really have the ability
okay.
to say yes, this is a good loan. They type your information into the computer, and the computer tells them yes or no.
Okay.
Versus actually being able to talk to a banker like the guys over at Citizens State Bank. We can talk to those guys and
Yeah.
say this is their situation, and so take another look at it, or can you be a little more forgiving on this? And again, you're talking to a human being, which makes it a lot better.
Yeah. Well, that's good advice. So, all
Yeah,
right.
I mean, in long term, start that relationship as soon as you start your business.
Okay. Cool.
I mean, just think about it in terms of if you were loaning the money.
Yep.
If somebody that you've known for the last 3 years, it's a lot easier to loan them money than it is for somebody you just met that just walked in the door.
Absolutely.
And then,
Yeah.
bankers are people too.
Yep.
So, start the relationship early.
All right. Well, I think that's all I have. Does anyone else have anything? So that loan conversation, that's good. I don't need one right now, but like that's good to know. I bank. I won't say who I bank with, but they are big. It was who my personal bank was with. You know what I mean? And I might consider changing. So we'll see.
So that's an interesting thing too. Sorry, I know we're probably trying to wrap
No,
this up.
no, no, no,
I
no.
talked I
No,
talked too
Twitch
much. You
no,
knew this
Twitch
about me.
streams Twitch streams go 5, 6 hours, you're good, man. Trust me.
Uh, Um, you typically don't want to have your business banking at the same bank as your personal banking.
Okay.
Uh, those accounts can be what's called cross collateralized. And
Okay.
so you go and get a business loan and you don't realize that you're signing that they have the ability to take money out of your personal account to pay that
That's
loan.
good to know. Okay, that is actually really good information. And I know I'm gonna have to when I do the LLC, I'm gonna have to like get new bank accounts anyway. So
Yeah. Just go ahead and keep them separate. You don't
yeah,
want they will commingle that money for you if they feel like they need to collect.
yep, they're
And
gonna get their money no matter what. That's good to
all
know.
right, can
So
I ask a question? What does full send mean?
oh, that's something I say.
Okay.
It's a me thing. So it's like it means it comes from like mountain biking. So like
Okay.
would be back in the day, like in the 90s, when people would say like basically they would like do a really big jump, right? And they'd be like, "You're sending an airmail," right? So that's where it kind of comes from. And then it
Okay.
went into send it, and then it kind of turned into full send. So I mountain bike, or I used to. I need to do more of it. So I would just say that, and like in a lot of, we're all like kind of in the same like Twitch community, like a lot of the people that are here. So I would just like when I would type something out, like it was easy to type for me too on like mobile. So I would just when I think that something was awesome, I was just like full send, and
I
I guess
got it.
it just caught on. I don't know. I said it enough that people, and then I made it turned it into my email. So let's see. I've got a few full sends here.
I love
Let me
it.
do a
I love
couple
it. That's awesome.
let's do a couple full yeah, it's just, it's a weird vocal tick I have, I guess, a little bit, and we turned I was able to turn it into a meme. So, let me see here, you on your stream? Let's
Yep.
see. Are you let's see.
I noticed some of the comments are coming back with full send
Yeah,
and
so here's my full send. I'll give you the full send. So we've got the regular, we've got it animated. And
awesome.
yeah, and then I have just send it. And then I make most of my own emotes because like I said, I have several machines that can edit video and photos pretty darn well. So I make most of mine, but I play Mortal Kombat sometimes, so I've got to fight one too. And so
Very cool.
you got me onto this, man. Like you don't know what you did. So but
I love it. That's awesome.
yeah, so anyway, you got any other questions for anyone? So it looks like DJ might give you a call. So
Great. Love
yeah,
to help.
full sense. So all right, guys. Thanks, Nick. I appreciate it. And yeah,
All right. Thank you. I appreciate you guys and give me a call or happy to be on here. I appreciate it. If y'all need anything, just let me know.
yes, yes. All right, all right, guys. I'm gonna go. Let's see. It left me. I'm gonna go back to chatting. We're gonna yap. We're gonna yap, and then we're probably gonna raid into Caitlin's stream. So was that helpful to everyone? A little bit. It's helpful to me. There's some stuff I didn't know. Like so. Yep. So yeah. Another preferred person asking me what full send is. I'm like, dude, I'm just weird. Like, I'm a freaking streamer. I'm kind of a weirdo. So, like, but, you know, I don't mean to call y'all weirdos. I'm saying I am. But it is kind of a trope, isn't it? So, anyway, guys, thanks for coming. We are going to raid out. We are going to raid to, Solo, by the way, thank you for redeeming the Houston. That warms my heart. I love that point redeemed so much. You're the best too, Solo. You're the best. I hope this was helpful for everyone. So, I didn't know about the per diem thing. Like, I didn't know that was a thing. So, I probably won't do it like daily, but I might ask Nick like if I went on like a trip. You know what I mean? If I could like expense like basically a per diem for me for food. You know what I mean? So I'll have to ask him. So but yeah, so let's go right into Caitlin's stream. She should be streaming now, unless she like rage quit. She might rage quit. Let's see, Cassie. Let's see, is Caitlin not going? No, there she is. All right, let's send it, y'all. All right, guys. Woo, it's not focusing. Go see Caitlin. Be nice. Okay, don't be weird. You guys won't be though. So But she is playing Crash. That is what we spun on the wheel last night. Yeah, this is gonna be a fun time. So anyway, thank you for coming. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you all later.